Land finance. So by the time you get to the land finance section, whether you are in the Australian version or the international version, you'll notice that most of the details are already blacked out. That means they have already been picked up based on your assumptions that you actually made in this sheet, based on your land finance assumptions that if you were going to borrow 80% of it, at what interest rate you were going to borrow that, and your loan start date and your loan paid out date. So loan paid out date is automatically taken just before construction. That's the date the loan actually gets refinanced into a construction loan, so that there is only one lender at a time. And then you've got land loan application and setup costs that you allocated as 1%, and your land line service fee every month that you allocated it over here. So once you've got all these details, whether you're in the Australian version or the international version, so this is the Australian version, and then we have the international version, which is these assumptions are exactly the same. Now, once you've done that and you come to your budget sheet in both scenarios, um, and you want to put in your finance details, you don't really need to do anything because everything has already been picked up. And the only thing that you really need to select is this section here. So for your land finance, all you have to do is make a selection that the interest accrued, is that capitalized or not. All you have to do is go yes or no based on what your assumptions are for this, what kind of loan you've got. And in basically the Australian version, you've got this option where you've got your whether or not there is GST on your loan application fee, and usually there is none, so automatically no is selected, and the interest accrued on capitalized, whether you want to select that or not. And the difference for these would be, so let's look at Australia. So if I was to select yes over here, so whenever my application gets whatever the application is, the whatever GST was included in that gets captured at the bottom. And the other difference is that if I was to select that for yes or no, and I'll show that to you in the international version, for example. So here, my interest accrued was 156,000, which I kept paying monthly every month. But if I was to change that and go yes, that means I'm not paying any interest every month. I'll pay that one fee at which is going to be 168,000 if it actually gets accrued. I end up paying a little bit more because then I'm paying interest on the interest that I've already owed, and that's why it gets changed. So if I select no, which is basically mostly in land settlement cases, there are monthly installments for interest only that we keep paying, and that's what this actually calculates for us. In both scenarios, for land finance, if you made your assumptions correctly over here, then all you have to do is change the interest accrued, capitalized, and the loan application and setup fee, whether or not that has GST. And the international version doesn't even actually have that option because there is no GST applicable. And that's all you select, and everything gets allocated and gets distributed based on when the loan is coming in, when it's going out. The setup fee, the monthly line fee, that if there is a line fee, which is a flat line fee for the amount that has to be allocated every month, the interest that is owed for that month based on the number of days in that month. So you'll see that they vary based on the number of days that are in that month. And towards the end, it just keeps carrying that, you still owe 1,040,000 whatever you borrowed. And at the end, when your construction is refinanced from here, it automatically gets paid out, so that it's refinanced and not it doesn't keep running.